I didn't really like the idea of Jack and Sally as a couple. I felt like they never really even interacted with each other. Like, I could totally see how Sally liked Jack. I mean, who wouldn't? He was the cool guy in town, the Pumpkin King, the master of fright, and a demon of light. On the other hand, well, she was a nobody. She has no clout in the realm of Halloween Town. Even though the doctor doesn't allow Sally to go out, that doesn't really stop her from doing whatever she needs to do in order to experience life outside of her room. Basically, why would Jack like someone like Sally when he could have anyone he wanted? When the movie begins, we're introduced to Halloween Town. As you can imagine, the sole purpose of Halloween Town is to put on, prepare, and celebrate Halloween. It's fantastically spooky. When the movie introduces us to Jack, the movie goes on to show us that he successfully pulls off a flawless Halloween every single year. When Jack isn't home to discuss plans for next year's Halloween, the mayor freaks out. Jack has it all. He's amazing at his job, he's popular, and he seems to hold a position of power in town. Yet despite all this, Jack's lonely. He's unhappy. No one even seems to notice that Jack looks sad, even though he's walking away from the awards ceremony. I wonder if they even realized that he wasn't there. There is someone who does notice him though, the real him, and that person is Sally. We're introduced to Sally in a pretty different way. The opening sequence of the movie shows off each unique villager and their different scare tactics. However, when the camera pans over to Sally, Sally isn't showing off how she scares people. In fact, she's used to show off another villager's scare tactic, which is the wind blowing through your hair. Scaring people and the idea of Halloween don't seem to be things that she even cares about. This is completely different from everyone else around here. Everyone loves scaring. They love to put on a display for Halloween every year. Now, this isn't to say that Sally doesn't respect or appreciate everything around her. Whenever we see her, she's comfortable and content amongst everyone else. Given that she isn't fully immersed in the culture around her, this allows her to look at the events around her with a more critical eye. This way, she's able to see Jack's pain in a different way that the others might not be able to. Something else that's important to note is Sally's admiration for Jack. Even though she was typically locked up inside, there's no doubt in my mind that she's heard of this amazing feats during Halloween time. Everyone looks up to him. While she's out and watching everyone come back from another successful Halloween, she gets to see everyone up close. She even gets to see Jack. The look on her face is that of pure admiration. And if at this point in time she has a crush on him, she doesn't let everyone else who's flirting with him bother her at all. This signifies the potential for a healthy relationship. And I know we all stan a healthy relationship. Both Jack and Sally are desperately trying to see the potential of what their lives could be outside of where they currently are now. For Jack, that means not being the Pumpkin King. For Sally, that means being outside of Dr. Finkelstein's reach. Dr. Finkelstein merely sees her as his creation, as his property, and in doing so, he neglects who she is as a person. He can't see her own personality, her dreams, and her aspirations, because he's already put her in her own box in his head, which is exactly what everyone else in the village does to Jack. They only see him for one thing, and that's his status as the Pumpkin King. When Jack gets the opportunity to visit Christmas Land, he's hooked. Christmas couldn't be any more different than Halloween. During Halloween, they want to scare people. During Christmas, they want to bring joy into the world. It's colorful everywhere. There's snow, and everyone's alive. It brings joy to Jack's life that he's felt, that he's lacked. It's the same look that Sally gives to Halloween Town when she goes out and explores. Now, when Jack is going to introduce Christmas Land to the rest of the villagers from Halloween Town, he's excited. He feels as if he's just experienced the most wonderful life that he could never have. He wants everyone else to be just as happy as he was when he went. Initially, when Jack calls for the town meeting, though, everyone's excited. They're excited for the wrong reasons, though. They aren't able to look at Christmas without looking at it through the lens of Halloween. Even when Jack shows them the Christmas tree and the presents, the villagers don't react in the same way that Jack did. Instead of being amazed, they gasp. They act as if what they're looking at is supposed to be a new form of scary. Now this makes sense for them, though. They aren't able to look outside of their own worldview and biases. But do you know who doesn't gasp? Do you know who doesn't look scared? That's right, it's Sally. Sally's intrigued, Sally's curious, Sally's excited. She's responding to everything in the same way that Jack was. Even though he's seemingly gone a little crazy, she's there for him every step of the way. Sally never yells at him, Sally never degrades him, and Sally never gives up. Jack does kind of ignore everything that she's saying though, and doesn't even take the time to consider it. She can tell that he's not listening to her at all. She tries to push him in the right direction, but she knows that she can't really make him do anything. Let's keep in mind that Sally is very supportive of Jack's curiosity regarding Christmas Land. She isn't against his interests. In fact, she seems to be delighted at the fact that he's happy again. She even goes out of her way to figure out how to make a certain type of potion. Now this potion is special and different from everything else in Halloween Town. When Jack opens up this bottle, a butterfly comes flying out. It's not dead, it's not rotten, and it looks alive. It moves and flutters right before it disappears. This shows how she's listening and truly understands him. Even after Jack leaves for Christmas, Sally still continues to support him. Sally still wants nothing but the best for him, even when she feels that he may not reciprocate her feelings. She's hurt, she's broken, and she still wants nothing but the best for her friend. While the rest of Halloween Town doesn't even know how to help Jack, Sally goes out and tries to rescue Santa Claus all on her own. She goes and does what needs to be done because she's a ride or die. Literally, Sally is out here risking her life by trying to save Sandy Claus from Oogie Boogie. She never doubts Jack, even until the end. She knows deep down in her heart that Jack's going to come save her. And he does. After Jack is blown out of the sky, he's at his lowest point. As Avatar Aang once said, when we reach our lowest point, we are open to the greatest change. Jack has clarity for the first time in a very long time. He realizes what his place in life is, what his life's purpose is. He realizes how much Sally cares about him, and he realizes how much Sally means to him. Except because he's the Pumpkin King, they're interrupted by the town when they find him. And Sally looks like she's ready to throw hands. When everything's returned back to normal, except for the snow, Sally leaves the festivities. It's almost as if she feels like she has no place to go in this town. So she decides to go back to the only place that's given her comfort, the graveyard. Except this time, someone does notice her leave. Jack. Jack is perceptive to Sally. He comes and asks to be by her side. Jack and Sally are simply meant to be. Once again, thank you, my darlings, for watching. I'm going to try to put out videos every week. Once I get a schedule going, I'll try to stick to it. I'm excited to see how this channel will grow and evolve over time. Have a good night. Sleep tight. I'll talk to you all next week.